This week, I decided to swap my usual historical sewing videos for something a little more tasty. In this video, I'll be tasting history by following 3 separate recipes from the court of Mehmet II, the Ottoman Sultan most known for his conquest of Istanbul in 1453. The Topkapi Palace, residence of the Ottoman Sultan after 1478, kept daily records of the foods cooked during the Sultan's reign. Scholars have written extensively on these documents, and I'll put a reading list in the description box for those wishing to do further research. Many of the dishes eaten in court in the 15th century resembled dishes eaten by Turks today. Foods like mantı, helva, white rice with chickpeas, that appear in the Topkapi Palace registries are still staples in Turkish cuisine today. I chose 3 different dishes that perhaps aren't as widely known as the dishes I just mentioned. There is an appetizer made of yogurt and spinach, a type of yogurty peeled wheat soup for breakfast, and a spicy white rice pilav with mixed fruits and meat. Starting with the breakfast meal, I realised that I had to soak this for 12 hours according to the packet, and I simply did not have that kind of time. Looking through the history books, I wasn't really told what to do, so I just put it straight into boiling water and just let it cook. It's been maybe 15 minutes. It's not very soft. Like a little bit of a bite to it. I'm just gonna leave it and then I'll come back and check. This is just way too much for this meal, like for this soup. So I think I'm gonna take some of this out. To thicken the soup, I'm just using a classic mixture of yogurt, flour and vinegar. And these are all ingredients that they had at that time. So technically, it's not wrong. To temper the mixture, I'm just putting some of the boiled water from the soup into the actual yogurt mixture. Alright, it just says that we have to cook. So I'm just gonna cook maybe like 10 minutes. I'm already excited to eat this because I do love wheaty things. Once again, this is very similar to the Turkish food that we make today. I'm sure people somewhere still make this, but maybe, you know, with just adding different kind of spices and whatnots. Okay, we're back. Time to eat this. The sun is coming out. If this was just a tad runnier, it would be very similar to a yogurty soup that is still made in Turkey today. Once again, it is a very familiar taste to me. I'm not, like stunned like people who do Western medieval foods are, because their foods have changed so much over time. Whereas Turkish food today is basically a continuation of Ottoman and pre-Ottoman traditions and foods. I will say though, this is heavy. This is something that we would eat for dinner today. Whereas the sultans were eating this for breakfast. Food would be cooked twice a day. So once in the morning and one later in the day. It was because their breakfast was really heavy and it kept them full. Now onto the appetizer. This dish consists of cooked spinach mixed in yogurt. Once again, we're not given the exact recipe, so I'm going to use some oil and some salt to give it flavour. These ingredients were used in the Ottoman court, so it's safe to assume that they probably would have been added to these meals. Okay, so we've got our very sad amount of spinach and yogurt. So I'm just going to put the spinach into the yogurt and see how this tastes. It tastes exactly how I imagined it would. Like, it is delicious to me. It's not so unfamiliar to my palate, to the Turkish palate. Maybe we can move on to the next one. I am most excited about this last dish, but also the most confused. Firstly, they're not even giving the measurements, let alone the time, the cooking time. So I'm just going to use some logic, tradition. A lot of these foods are still carried on, but this one's kind of different. So that's why I'm confused, because Turks really don't make this anymore. We just make plain white rice. We've just become plain people. So here is some lovely saffron from Iran. I've never used this in my cooking before, so I didn't really know how much to add. Since saffron can be harmful in large doses, I did have to look up how much to add and ended up grinding around 15 to 20 strands. So in this, I've got the saffron, I've got some salt, cinnamon, some cumin, and some pepper. Okay, it's starting to boil, so I'm going to put these in. This is very nerve-wracking because what if this tastes horrible and I have a huge pot of rice? Oh my god, it smells already.
It smells so spicy.
There's very little water left, so I think I'm going to put the meat in now. Let's see. I'm just going to mix this all in. Yum, I'm excited about this, I really am. The sun has set, very dark outside, so the lighting has changed in here. I am so tired because I've been cooking and cleaning all day. Now, let's taste this. It definitely needs more salt. It's not as spicy as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's just because of the quantity of the spices I put in. The records don't really show the quantity of the spices. They just kind of say, put in saffron, put in cinnamon. I just had to kind of go with my gut. Still feels kind of bland. I somehow managed to delete the rest of this footage, so I'll just end the video here. Thank you for watching and let me know what kinds of historical themed videos you'd like to see in the future.